Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. We have special guest. Donald Best is with us. He is considered one of Canada's most methodical and well-documented whistleblowers. He was a police sergeant for over 30 years before becoming a journalist, filmmaker, and an anti-corruption advocate. He spent 63 days in solitary confinement for exposing corruption, and he's here today to tell us why. Please welcome to the show, Donald Best. Hey, Donald, how are you?
Great, Jimmy. Thanks for inviting me on. And hi to Steph and Ron, too.
All right. We like whistleblowers and people who are fighting corruption. So before we get into your work, I want to know, you're a police officer who was assigned to investigate and arrest corrupt police officers. Now, that's
for much of my career, yes.
I can't think of a more dangerous job than that. You deliberately hunted down and arrested your fellow police officers. First of all, why did you accept such an assignment, and how badly were you ostracized after your role became known by other police officers?
Well, Jimmy, you have to understand that organizations like the police and the judiciary and lawyers and so many powerful professions, if they don't police themselves, well, it basically all goes to hell. It gets rotten, it gets corrupt very, very, very soon. And I found myself earlier in my police career finding that I was seeing things. Everybody sees things. And the pressure's on to not say anything. And if it's a small thing and you're new, you have to let it go. I'm sure it's that way in journalism. I'm sure it's that way in medicine. It's that way in a lot of professions. But then you see more and more. And you have to make a decision. Some people decide to ignore it. Some people decide to be willfully blind. But when you do that, you are empowering the corruption. You're responsible for it. Somebody has to have the courage to do something about it. Everybody's got integrity, but integrity is no good without courage. So there were a few of us, and they put us into a corrupt squad, a squad where there were rumors about organized crime, about these same squad members hanging around with, socializing with, receiving money, women, all in exchange for looking the other way while organized crime did what it does. So we were infiltrated into that squad, 3 friends and I, asked by the chief to go in. Nobody was told, not even internal affairs. We worked there for a year. We pretended to be corrupt. We took the money. We took the parties. We had to bring our own women, undercover police officers. We couldn't take the women. But some of the squad members who weren't working with us, they took all of it. And at the end of a year, we had to start arresting people. And Jimmy, it's hard. You go to somebody you've worked with, they're on the job. You do a search warrant at their home on a Saturday morning, their wife and children are there, you're arresting them. And the poor wife, she doesn't know what's going on, the children. But you have to do it. It's hard. It's very hard personally, it's hard emotionally, it's hard. And yes, you're ostracized. It got to the point where we couldn't park our cars anywhere downtown, our personal vehicles. They would be trashed. Some of the guys did have their cars trashed. There were threats against my family, threats against me. Some things I don't want to tell you about them. They're just too awful and messy.
So it sounds,
and that's normal.
So Don, it sounds like you were like you were a Canadian version of a Serpico, was who we had here in America in the 70s, and he infiltrated, he didn't infiltrate, he was a cop who exposed that they were all on the take, right? So they were taking money for drug dealers and organized crime. And as long as you took the money, everybody was okay. So you decided, so there was another movie in America was it Prince of the City? It was about this kind of thing. And so you're telling me that you actually had personal friendships with these people. How could you not? You're working with them every day. And then you have to turn around at the end of a year and start arresting them. And, you know, and you were so you caught a lot of flack from other cops. You were ostracized. You were messed with. Why aren't cops more open to reforming criminals? I mean, if their whole idea of being a cop is you're going to fight crime, why are cops in general, like as a culture, why are they against people like you, whistleblowers who expose criminals inside the police department?
Well, Jimmy, it's the same thing with journalism. It's the same thing with medicine. It's the same thing with law. Most people are decent, good people. They set out, they join these professions to change the world for good. We all go into it bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with such dreams of what we can accomplish. But then we start to see the corruption in each of those professions, and I'm sure many more. And most people remain honest, but they don't do anything to stop the corruption. Now, whistleblowers are slammed down all over the place in every profession. Police is no different, except the police have guns, and they have a lot of power, and they have access to information. Same with lawyers, judges, a lot of power, access to information. They can ask other police officers, other agencies, to target individuals who they don't like. They can make it seem legitimate, and it's very dangerous to go after people who are in positions of power.
Yeah, I know, but so you know, these people you say join the force with these good intentions, but it just seems like no matter where there is an investigation trying to root out criminality inside the department, whether it be in Canada or in the United States or anywhere, it seems like as a culture, the police, they push back. They're not really supportive of it. So, is that just normal for people to try to protect their own? Is that what it is, or what do you think?
I think that is. I think it's quite normal. Now, of course, in some professions, the stakes are very, very high. Take law, take being a judge, even in the operating theater in a hospital. How many surgeons who make mistakes or show up with alcohol on their breath are reported right away? Nurses look the other way. Doctors look the other way. It happens all the time. But if it gets to a certain level, somebody has to do something about it, and most people don't. So yes, Jimmy, there are corrupt cops, and the corrupt cops often act and operate with impunity for long periods of time. I'm saying it's the same in law. It's the same in the courts.
So let me talk about, so how many people did you arrest? I mean, for this, in this duty, arresting, I mean, how many other police officers did you arrest?
Okay. Personally, I arrested, I think, 3 or 4 police officers personally, also members of organized crime who were caught up in it, had bribed us. I think there was a dozen of them. But in the end, I believe that there was about a list of 100 people. Now, these were police officers. There were some Crown attorneys, Crown prosecutors on there. There were some politicians at various levels, government. And there was 1 or 2 judges, too.
Wow.
The better question to ask would be, yeah, a few people were allowed to resign. A few people might have been charged. How many were convicted, Jimmy?
You tell me how many were convicted.
None. Not a one.
So now why is that?
Because the system comes together. The system comes together to defend those who are corrupt, if they can. Because the fact that they are corrupt, they've probably got information on other people too. So there's a fear throughout these cabals, and I'll call them cabals, and they operate in law, they operate in policing, maybe even in journalism, I don't know. But these cabals provide an instant, strong defense. They will go after whistleblowers. They will go after any threat to one of their members because one member who cracks threatens the whole group.
Right. Okay. So not only were they not convicted, but they went after you, right? So you were convicted for contempt of court in a civil lawsuit, and so there were secret recordings you made of your telephone conversations with the lawyers involved, and I read the official court records showing what those lawyers told the court. They lied to the court, and as a result, you were convicted for contempt of court while you weren't even in the country. And then they offered you a plea bargain, but you chose to go to prison instead. So, first of all, what was the phony charge that they convicted you on, and why didn't you take a plea bargain?
Sure. Well, Jimmy, first of all, that situation that we're talking about now is decades after that, the police corruption undercover work that I did at the time, and it has nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
I had a company, and my company launched a lawsuit against people and corporations who owed me money in the little island nation of Barbados, and some of them were in Canada. I tried to get that lawsuit heard in Canada because the Barbados courts are just very corrupt, and one of the people I was suing was the Chief Justice of Barbados. You don't have much luck suing the Chief Justice of Barbados in his own court. In any event, in Canada, court decided that Canada was not the place for my company's civil suit. And that's all well and good. And then we had cost hearings. But I was out of the country at the time. I was traveling in Asia. And these lawyers, they went to the court and obtained an order that the judge backdated 10 days for them. And that ordered me to produce documents 2 days before the order was signed. Now think about that. So I didn't know about this. I didn't know what was happening. But the day before that I was supposed to appear for questioning in Toronto, I phoned the court to see how the case was going and found out I was to appear the next day in Toronto. Well, I couldn't appear, so I telephoned. And I had a long conversation with the lawyers. And during that time, they asked me if I had received a certain court order, this court order that had been backdated. I said, no, I hadn't. They didn't know I was overseas. I said, no, I hadn't. And I asked some 12 different times. And then they hung up on me. They refused to let me testify over the phone or answer any questions. And they went to the judge immediately and told the judge that during the phone conversation, I had confirmed to them that I had received the order. They lied. Now, one would think, lucky for me, I recorded that phone call. And it showed me, well, saying, I didn't get that order. Please send it to me. I didn't get it. But they went to the court and they lied. And the court, in a secret hearing that I knew nothing about, convicted me of contempt of court and sentenced me to 3 months in prison, all on the basis of these lies, both written and in oral testimony before the court by these lawyers. So I came back to Canada, and I thought I would bring the recordings and other evidence that I had that's irrefutable, shows the lawyers lied. I was not guilty. I was innocent. But the court refused to hear the new evidence. It excluded the evidence, and it continued to find me guilty. So away to jail I went. I was offered a deal, and the deal was if I would apologize to the court, even though I was innocent, if I would forget about that the lawyers perjured themselves, lied, obstructed justice, then the court wouldn't send me to jail. I refused that. I refused to be part of a cover-up and a lie. Now, I'm a little different. I'm a little different at this stage of life. My children are all grown. I don't have I'm in business for myself, so I don't have to be at a job every day. So I could take the hit. But some people can't. And I understand now why thousands, tens of thousands of people plead guilty, even when they're innocent. Because the system extorts guilty pleas for all kinds of reasons. And one of the reasons is to protect the cabals who are very powerful. I found that out.
So Don, what you're saying that you're in your career of investigating police officers for their criminality. That doesn't have anything to do with this case. So what you're saying is that some lawyer, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so what happened was these lawyers, so this civil case you have, these lawyers collude with this judge to criminally deceive the court, right, and say that you did something you didn't do. And why would they do that? Why would the judge and those lawyers do that? Why wouldn't they just, was it because they knew you were going to beat them in court, or what was it?
Well, who knows why criminals do criminal things?
Okay.
Do they get lazy? Now, there was a lot at stake.
Okay.
And there was a corrupt police officer. The lawyers had actually hired a corrupt Ontario Provincial Police detective sergeant to work for them privately on the side. They paid him on the side. I even have those invoices that he gave to the law firm, and they paid. Totally illegal, against the criminal code, against the Police Act, against the private investigators law in Ontario. But this police officer was hired by these corrupt lawyers, and he worked on the case investigating me on police time for a civil matter upon which he took a bribe.
Okay. So you do the time, and now so how long ago was that? When did you get out of prison? How long ago?
2014.
And so ever since then, you've been trying to get these people to justice who did this to you, right? The judge, those lawyers. And on your side in this case, or in your fight, is former Canadian government cabinet minister and police commissioner, various law school professors, and expert forensic witnesses, formerly with the Ontario Centre of Forensic Sciences. You even have a former American CIA computer expert testifying about illegal activities against you by staff and judges in the Federal Court of Canada. So it almost sounds like it's some kind of crazy conspiracy theory, but except you appear to have solid evidence on your side and some highly credible people who back your story. So do you think you're going to be able to get justice ever out of these people?
Well, we'll see, Jimmy. The fact of the matter is, I've been saying that these people, these lawyers, Gerald Ranking, Lauren Silver, Sebastian Kwidzinski, Judge J. Brian Shaughnessy, and former detective sergeant with the OPP, I've been saying that these people are corrupt, and I've said it for years. They don't sue me. They have had me banned from the newspapers, and because some of the lawyers are as I understand it, represent some of the major newspaper organizations in Canada. But they don't dare sue me, and I just keep saying their names. And that's what I'm doing. I'm still in court. I complained to the Canadian Judicial Council about Justice Shaughnessy, and that was tossed without an investigation, without looking at any evidence. So I asked for a judicial review, and we're in the middle of that right now. And this is where all these other people who have seen my story, who have looked at the evidence, these experts, including the former commissioner of police, and they're on my side. The lawyers, the judge, and even the Attorney General of Canada are doing everything they can to stop this.
Wow. Well, listen, you good luck on this. I mean, I hope you can bring these people to justice. We're always here for anti-corruption fighters, but you say that this kind of corruption is rampant in the United States too. Is that, or is it? Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, you're not. I think this kind of corruption. Well, for instance, one of the things that Dr. Eric Cole is my ex-CIA guy. That sounds a little more sinister than he was the commissioner for cybersecurity for President Obama. That's a little better. And he's on my side. And one of the things that we discovered, for instance, was that judges and or their staff of the Federal Court of Canada for over a year and a half were doing secret investigations into me, into my witnesses, my lawyers. And we know that because they had a fixed IP number that identified the Federal Court of Canada, and they visited my website. So we have dozens and dozens of visits. And we've applied to find out which personnel were doing this secret investigation. Now, I mean, you think, so what's the problem with judges and their staff secretly collecting information online about cases, about litigants, about accused persons, witnesses? What's the problem with that? Well, that's easy. You see, secret investigations, secret evidence considered in back rooms, that goes right to the heart of the justice system. And this happens both in Canada and the United States. We know this from other cases and newspaper articles and legal articles that the law societies throughout North America have commissioned. They know this is happening. And you see, persons before the court, they have a right to see the evidence against them. They have a right to cross-examine the witnesses who present the evidence. And by the way, I'm the only person in Canada I know of who has gone to jail who was refused the right to cross-examine the very witnesses the court relied upon to convict and sentence me. The only person in Canada that's ever happened to my knowledge. So, when there are secret trials, secret hearings, secret evidence consideration by judges or by jury members, that's wrong, it's illegal, and it undermines everything. And it's rampant right now. I mean, all of us, when we hear something, when we want to know something more about somebody, we just pick up our phones and we Google. But you can't do that if you're in court considering evidence. It's illegal, and it destroys everything. But that activity is rampant in the United States. It's rampant in Canada, in the courts. And we've proven it now. We have the solid evidence backed up by experts like Dr. Cole. And once again, the system is fighting it tooth and nail. But we've applied to get the information from the court's administrative service, the people who administer the court's computers. They've refused. So we're going further. We want to know which judges were secretly gathering evidence. Even during one of the court hearings, I saw that the judge, sort of my lawyer, had his laptop open on the bench, and he was just surfing around during the hearing into my case. And lo and behold, at that same day, same hour, and same minute, someone from the Federal Court of Canada was visiting my website and doing various Google searches. So we want the courts to come clean. We want the judge to come clean. We want this activity stopped. And they're doing anything and everything they can to prevent us from learning which judges were doing these secret investigations into me and my case.
Well, Donald Best, we wish you all the best in getting to the bottom of this and getting justice in your case and exposing these corrupt lawyers and judges. And if something like that happens, it'll be amazing. But, right, especially in this day and age, it takes a long time for whistleblowers to get their due. People don't like them in the moment, and then it takes a while for people to come around to their point of view. But listen, thanks for taking time with us. Is there anything else you want to leave us with that we should know about?
Well, yes, I do. Now, Jimmy, my friends and I came down to LA and saw you guys live.
Right.
Right. We want to know when you're coming live to Toronto.
Ha!
I think you could fill a couple of venues I can think of. I think it would be great. We had the most wonderful evening. It was such a great time, and we want to see you again.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, Donald. We're definitely going to come up to Toronto and Vancouver, eh? I don't know about Montreal because I don't speak French, but yes, we're definitely coming to Canada. We love Canada, and thanks for the invitation. And it was great to see you in Los Angeles at the show. Donald Best, he is an anti-corruption fighter from Canada. Thanks for being our guest, and good luck. And please check back in with us.
Thanks so much, Jimmy.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on the show. See you later.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are, you're probably not. It only takes a second to check, and then you have to ring that bell so they send you a notification when we drop a new video. Otherwise, they won't tell you when we drop new videos. And if you like our show, please help support it. Become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week, and we give a live stream. We do a live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time when you could ask us questions, and we answer them back. Thanks for your support.